Hello and welcome back to the Common Colt Podcast. I'm Josh Hudgens, joined by Dan Hertzler. How's it going, sir?
Doing pretty good.
Hey, man, Colts head coaching search is still on. The report out of Pro Football Talk and some other places are saying that they have narrowed their head coaching search down to 5 candidates. And obviously, there was around 14 candidates originally that we know of, and we're going to flash that list on the screen right now. So looking at that list, we don't know who the 5 are. So we're going to kind of speculate here based on the list and some reports off of how some of these interviews went. And we kind of came up with our 5 that we think are going to become the finalists.
Yeah, well, first of all, I just want to add the fact that they don't really have one guy that they've targeted from the very beginning, which again isn't a bad thing, but it just shows that they didn't really know who they wanted. There's not a hot guy out there. Harbaugh, Sean Payton, none of that stuff was ever going to happen. So the Colts are doing their due diligence. They're working hard here. They're getting a lot of different people. They're pulling a lot of different names in. So hats off to them. I'm excited for this process. Hopefully, I don't know if you heard the report about what happened. With McDaniels on the last hiring there. I guess his wife didn't like all that. I mean, it's just hilarious how this stuff plays out.
People are just anything to get a click, right? Anything to get a click, I guess.
You find this information out later and you just laugh because you had to go to the bathroom.
Real quick about and you hinted at the process, and I think that's one interesting thing about keeping Ballard as GM. I know there's some guys who wanted him fired. Is they're heading into an offseason where they need to lead a head coaching search, and now Ballard's learned from the McDaniels search, and they need a franchise quarterback. So do you want a first-time GM kind of helping find your franchise quarterback, making the trades, and also getting your head coach? I mean, that could be part of the reason why they stuck with Ballard is this guy's kind of experienced that. So, but yeah, I think looking at the 14 names and looking at who I think – to me, is a no-brainer to be in the next 5 or the finalists would be Brian Callahan, the Bengals OC. The guy worked with Peyton Manning when Peyton was in Denver, but obviously Irsay's got that connection. He could talk with Peyton. They could pick his brain, see what he thinks about how the guy works. And then he's taken part in developing a young quarterback, which is Joe Burrow there in Cincinnati. So to me, if you want an offensive-minded head coach, a guy who can develop your quarterback, I think you get an OC, and obviously he's the Bengals offensive coordinator, and he's worked with a guy who you know very well. So I think it's a no-brainer that Brian Callahan is going to be in the finalist range.
Yeah, I think we both agree. That's the one you can kind of bet your money on it to us. That would be the one that's the most appealing. Again, we're not in these ones, so we're just kind of watching from the sidelines like everybody else. But he fits all the bill for what you need, what you're looking for, and he would be number 1 to me. Number 2, right behind him for me, is the OC at the Giants, Mike Kafka, I think is how I say it. Again, I want to get the names right after last time. But anyways, again, what he's done there. With Brian Dolan, the quarterback or the coach at the Giants, and what they've done with turning Daniel Jones around. I know he didn't look good yesterday, but we're gonna push that one off. He just had a great turnaround season, and that's someone that I would look at for that would be the second guy that I think might move on.
Yeah, he's done a lot with. I mean, he has Saquon Barkley, but he's done a lot with not a lot, So another one is Raheem Morris. I know he's kind of a defensive-minded guy, and this guy isn't super popular, I think, amongst fans. Like, not a lot of fans want the Colts to hire him. He's kind of been around the block, but from some reports, they're saying the interview went well on both sides. Both sides think their initial interview went well. So I think, to be realistic, I think we have to say, hey, this guy's going to make the finalist. I think I'd rather have an offensive-minded guy come in, a guy who is kind of new to the NFL, and kind of like you said, a guy who's ready to revolutionize a little bit. So I don't really want the Colts to hire Raheem Morris, but I do think that he makes it in the final 5.
Yeah, and what you said there is we don't know what goes on in these interview processes, and they might have this, wonderful wow moment in those things, and they just kind of bump up the list. But I agree with you. The defensive side of things, him, and then our 4th one we're thinking about is D'Amico Ryans. I said it right this time, right?
Yeah.
D'Amico. All right. It's, again, another defensive guy. He's kind of hot on the line for a few other positions out there. He might even go to the Texans. So we're not sure that the Colts will be his destination, but we think he will make it in there. And again, you can give or take whether or not a defensive offensive coordinator because the defensive coordinator can recognize, hey, I need a good offensive coordinator, and I'm going to focus on the defense, and that's fine. That'll work out. They're probably just not the top two that are on our list. But who do you have for number 5?
I think, unfortunately, Eric Bieniemy. Chiefs OC.
The enemy. There, I get you back.
Hey, I almost pronounce him every so often too. But look, the guy, at the end of the day, he's had success as an OC. I'm a little lower on him than I think a lot of people are, just for the fact that he's worked with Andy Reid, who's a genius, and he has Patrick Mahomes as his quarterback. So I feel like I could come in there. I'd probably fail miserably, but I feel like I could go in there and I could call the plays for the Chiefs at that point with Andy Reid looking over my shoulder and Mahomes as my quarterback. But I do think
Reid calls his own plays, so he doesn't even call his own plays.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So they work together a little bit, I think, on that stuff. But Reid's very active, and to me, I don't think he's quite qualified enough to make the jump to head coach. I do have an honorable mention, though, and I'd like to pick your brain. I think Bubba Ventrone / Jeff Saturday, 1 or 2 of those guys are going to sneak into that final round of interviews just because respect. You've worked with these guys, you like these guys, and from a business aspect, I think that they're going to give these guys another interview. The only question I have is, Bubba is being mentioned as the Colts' possible head coaching candidate. If the Colts viewed him this highly or that highly, why didn't he get the interim job when the season went down the tank? He's on your coaching staff already, and they give it to Saturday, who's not even in the organization. I just kind of thought that was interesting, but I think they might have a chance.
Now, look, you can't come in the middle of a season and turn around an offense. Okay, that just doesn't happen in the NFL. So I'm not gonna grade him too harshly, but at the same time, what did we really see that really would say, wow, I'd like to see more of that? He might be this kind of boy genius behind the scenes. He might be able to break down some things, but I think he needs a little bit more seasoning. I don't think this is the big, huge, pivotal moment the Colts need to make, taking a shot on him.
Yeah, it's an interesting perspective, and I know the Saturday thing's been beat down hard, but hey, just because the guy doesn't work out as a head coach for us doesn't mean he can't have a role within the organization. He was a consultant for the team, and from what I understand, he was actually watching practice tape and game tape actively. So he could still be heavily plugged into this organization and not be the head coach, whether that's an offensive line coach or something else. It would be interesting to see. And obviously, I do like Bubba Ventrone. Obviously, I kind of have I watched Hard Knocks and I seen him doing that, and I kind of grew a liking to him. But obviously, the Colts think highly of him if they're interviewing him for a head coaching position, being a special teams coordinator. But yeah, I mean that's our 5. I mean we don't have the building bugged. We don't know, but based off that 14, I think we're at least probably going to hit a few of the guys. What do you think?
Yeah, I for me and all of this, it's just exciting because it's so pivotal to what the success of the Colts is going to move forward. The combination of the head coach and the quarterback. And in this offseason, this is where the Colts are at. This is what they're going to do. Colts fans, we need to be locked in. We need to be checking all the sources. We need to be watching all the tape. We need to be just focused in on what's going to happen here. So, keep checking the wires, keep seeing what's going on. Get on top of this. This is an exciting time. This is going to be the next 5, maybe 10, even 15 years of what the Colts football is going to be. It's going to be down to the coach and who the quarterback is. So exciting times. Exciting
times. The future is now. Guys, make sure to like, subscribe, comment. We're on the path to 1,000 subscribers. We'd love if you would join us. Comment who you think your top 5 coaches are going to be, and follow us on Twitter. Make sure, guys, you stay tuned to the Common Colt Podcast. Thanks again for watching, and have a great day.